Before the video starts, make sure to check out my Patreon, where you can get exclusive benefits from early access to sponsorships. If you would like to join, click the link in the description below and select one of these levels and become a John Army member. And now let's get on to the video. Welcome everyone to a brand new Unity tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to create a jump scare using a C# script and Unity. So before we get right into this tutorial, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure that all notifications are on so you don't miss a single upload, stream, or premiere I have come to this channel. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord, where you can meet YouTubers, future, upcoming, and game developers on that server. So link to my server will be in the description, so make sure feel free to join the Discord server. So let's get right on to the tutorial. Alright, so what you gotta do is open up Unity. Once you first launch Unity, the current version of Unity I'm using is Unity 2019 Unity 2019.4.11 F1. If you don't have that, link to Unity will be in the description for y'all to go get. Then I have created this little demo scene. Oh, this is just some cubes. I converted some cubes into walls and some on the platform, and I created some materials, one for the floor and one. You can see these red squares. The red material used for some spots to make it more classy. Then I have a first-person all-in-one controller from the Unity asset store. Link to that asset will be in the description as well. First what I'm gonna do is where to put a trigger in the. If you have a level and you want to add, if you're making a horror game in Unity, if you want to put some sort of jump scares in your game, somewhere's in the level, you just gotta find. It doesn't matter where you put it, as long as it's a good place for the player to go, like, explore your level. So for this one, I'm gonna use my demo scene. I'm gonna put a trigger right somewhere in this area. Or to do that, I can go to Game Object, 3D Object, Cube, or right click in the hierarchy, right click, 3D Object, Cube, and we'll add a cube in here. Then we just need to change the position of the cube on the Z. Just bring this right in. I think that's gonna be good. Then we need to change it on the Y to bring it back. Just need to keep this coming going. There you go. We can just bring this up. I'm gonna say right here. Alright, we need to change the scale on the cube to like 15, and on the Y to 2. We can leave the Z as 1. And now just bring this up just like that. We're going to disable mesh renderer so it won't be visible in the game. Now we need to rename this cube. Press an F2 on a keyboard, or you can go in the inspector panel where it says cube. You can click that and change it from there. So we're going to change this to jump scare trigger, and we make sure this one is ticked, because if we have it unticked, that script that we're gonna write, it won't work. So let's save this for now. And now we need to, I have created a folder. I have some images in here and a material. I got Pennywise and Slenderman as an example for this tutorial. So how we get our image into the level? We need to add a plane. So by right clicking 3D object and we're selecting plane. Now we need to move this into our scene. Just for doing this. Now we need to use the rotate tool to rotate this where we want it, or you can just type in -90 like that. Now we just need to bring this in to the right position, and we need to also have to rotate this, because some of these images will not be like upside down. So we're gonna go back to using our rotate tool, rotate on the Z, which is the blue line, to -270, -270. Now with our plane selected, hit F2, rename this to jump image. Alright, now we're back to our move tool. Alright, so since I make sure when you import your images to do a jump scare, make sure the texture type is sprite, 2D, and UI. By default, it's gonna say default, so make sure it's on sprite, 2D, UI by clicking this menu down here and select sprite, 2D, and UI, and press apply. Now for the material, I just went ahead and all I did was right click, create material. I just named the material and I just dragged the image to the albedo. So I can drag and drop this image onto the plane, and just bring them up just like that. Now, as of right now, see the back here, it's transparent, but in the front it's alpha. How I get that is, by default it'll be opaque. We don't want opaque for this type of image. We want cutout, and that will give me this jump scare image effect. So if we look at our game view, it looks good. Now we want to disable this image because we're going to call it on a script. So just untick this box right here. Alright, so now I want to go to add a sound effect by going to our first person all-in-one, head joint, player camera, right click, create empty. I'm going to rename this to jump SFX for sound effects. And I also got two of these audios from my instance website, which will be linked in the description down below as well. I'm gonna grab this Slender static onto the jump sound effects, and I'm gonna change this volume to 0.23. I always can adjust this later on, and untick play on awake, because we don't want to play on awake because we're gonna call it on the script. Alright, so now we got everything set up. Let's write the script. Make sure you go to your assets folder, right click, create folder, call it scripts, and in your scripts folder, go right click, create C# script. I'm going to call this jump scare for now. And we open this up in Visual Studio. If you're using Unity 2018 or higher, you're being forced to use Visual Studio. If you're using 2017 or below, you have the option for Mono Develop and Visual Studio. So I highly recommend Visual Studio because Mono Develop no longer supports the newer versions of Unity. So once this Visual Studio is launching, we just need to get this. So for this script, we need 3 variables: one for the jump scare, one for the audio source, and one for the game object, which is the image. I'm going to tell you why you need to reference the jump scare trigger. Alright, so once it fully loads, you will have this by default. Got your namespaces, which is the first 3 lines. One for collections, one for collections.generic, and one for using Unity engine. Alright, so we need to remove void start and void update and annotations because we don't need them for this. Since it's an untriggered event, then we need to go down a few lines, go to another line. Alright, so we need 3 public classes: one for the audio source, like I said, one for the audio source, one for the trigger, one for the sound effects or game object, whatever it said before. So we need to do is public. Everything in the script is public. Public game object. Call this Slenderman. You can call it whatever your jump scare image. You can call it whatever you want, and then followed by a semicolon. If you don't use a semicolon, it's gonna give you a red line. Tells you it'll like here it says it gives you that error. It'll tell you semicolon expected. So that's why you always have to put a semicolon. If you're doing C#, always add the semicolon at the end of every line you add in the script. Otherwise the script won't work. Then we need to add a public audio source. Call this jump SFX or jump sound. Since I already got a game object called that, then semicolon, then public. Capitalization is important. Another game object. I'm gonna call this jump trigger enter. Or we call it jump triggered. Or you can call it the trigger. Alright, so we got 3 variables: 2 game objects and an audio source. The 2 game objects is one for Slenderman, one for the trigger, and the audio source is the jump scare sound effect. Then we go skip a few lines. Then for this time, instead of using a void start or void update, we're going to use a void on trigger enter event. So we're going to do void on capitalization trigger enter. We can get rid of private because it doesn't need to be private, and we can get rid of collider other because we don't need that. So with void on trigger enter, we want to start the coroutine. Then we can name it whatever we want. For me, I'm going to call this scary area. 2 parentheses. Make sure there's 2 parentheses in this. And if you're doing a coroutine, whatever, I can't even say it right. If you're gonna do this, you gotta have your name, the name of the coroutine. Make sure this is the 2 parentheses is always important. Always, the coroutine will not work. And with the close parentheses, semicolon. Then we need the I enumerator. The name that we called the coroutine, scary area. 2 parentheses, open curly bracket, close curly bracket, and that red line in the coroutine will go away. And this one have a red line because we hadn't set anything in here. First, we need to activate the jump scare sound effect. So we do is jump sound dot play 2 parentheses semicolon Then we need to activate the jump scare image. So we call it so with Thunderman dot set active true, because the player has entered that trigger. Then with yield return, we need to add a delay so of how long we want this to be visible for. So we go to another line, type in yield return new wait 4 seconds. I'm gonna say 2 seconds. Then semicolon. Then Slenderman dot set active false. Because once the player enters that trigger, it'll be true, and after 2 seconds, it will set it to false. Then we go to another line. Then we go to jump trigger dot set active false semicolon. I just thought about this. We need to take this line of code and put it before we had that delay. So should be jumps down dot play Thunderman dot set active true, then jump scare trigger dot set active false, then the delay, then set the jump scare image to false. Alright, that should fix the issue, because if you put it after the delay, if you go re-enter that trigger, it's gonna do itself. If you have not seen the Curse of John's past teaser demo, I advise you go play it, link to it in the description. You can see what I did wrong in that game. And now we can just save the script. So we should not able to let's go back into Unity and let that compile, and we should not have any errors in that script. There you go. Yep, no errors. So we'll go to our jump scare trigger. Make sure your is trigger is ticked, because we use an on trigger event. That's why the is trigger is ticked. And I'm going to show you what happens if you untick it. Alright, so we just drag and drop the script onto the trigger. It's going to give us 3 variables that we called in the script: Thunderman, jump sound, jump trigger. So now we can reference these. Thunderman will be jump image, then jump sound will be jump sound effects, and the jump trigger is jump scare trigger. Now we just save the scene. Alright, for your first person only one controller, if you're going to use this, scroll down to the inspector panel and change to the mouse sensitivity to 4, or somewhere around 4 to between 4 to 10. By default, it's gonna be 10. If you play on 10, it's gonna be like all over the place. So I advise you to adjust this to the left. I'm gonna try 4 for now and see what happens. Now, if you play the scene now, it moves a lot better now. So if we go right into this trigger zone that we got, and it should, okay, it should disable it after 2 seconds. Okay, so let's see what we did wrong. It should work. I don't know why it's doing it. Let's try 1.5F. See if that changes 1.5 seconds. See if that changes anything. I don't know. See what happens. Try this again. And you walk back in, and it's not gonna replay it. That okay? So I don't know why it's doing it. Let's go back in our. All right, let's try. Let's try this. Dot get component. What can we put in here? Call this reference to plane dot enabled equals false. Let's try. Hold on. Let's try game object dot destroy. Game object dot should have the ability to destroy the game object. You know what? I'll put it in reverse. Destroy that game object. Or was it just destroy? Oh, I see what I did wrong. Then we destroy Thunderman. Let's see if that one works. So we're gonna go back into Unity. Before we go back and test it out, I want to jump sound dot equals. I want to test this out, see if it works. Save that script. I want to see if that script works. If it does, alright, let's go back to the jump scare trigger. Alright, nothing has changed. So we're gonna test this out now. So let's play. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so it doesn't want to destroy the game object. Okay. If I find out a solution to this, I'll provide an update video for this so we can fix the script. See why it don't want to do it. Alright, so that's simply how to make a jump scare on how to do a jump scare on trigger event in Unity. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to slap a like on this video. Make sure to subscribe with notification bell to collect. Also, don't forget to check out my Patreon, where you can get exclusive benefits. Oh, and I also want to point out, I want to give a quick shout out before I end this video. I want to give a quick shout out to Pyre Supplements. I am visually sponsored by them. So, if you use my code JohnJohnGames, like my channel name without the official. If you use my code JohnJohnGames this month, you get a 50% discount on selected items, which is whether it be supplements, gaming gear, accessories, whatever the case may be. If you use my code JohnJohnGames at checkout, you save 15%. You get a 50% discount through the month of October. Alright guys, thank you guys very much for watching this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, share. Also don't forget to check out Jamie Vegas' Jamie Vegas' channel. He does a bunch of Unity tutorials on his channel. So thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys in a brand new video.